Hey, good people, it's Ron Johnson, and this is Locked On Sports Minnesota, and this is Friday. So you know what that means? It's Friday, yeah. It's Saturday, Sunday, what? It's a Friday Roundtable. We got Julia Daniels joining us from Denver, Colorado. No, the Timberwolves do not play there. She's just there. We don't know why. We'll figure that out at some point. We got Reggie Wilson joining us from Minnesota because he knows the Timberwolves are playing Denver in Minnesota today. And we got Sam Ekstrom, the producer who does it all from Locked On Sports Minnesota, the co-host of the Ron Johnson Show, co-host of the Football Party, co-host of the Basketball. I mean, Sam just does it all. And of course, I'm Ron Johnson, former Gophers wide receiver, Gophers Hall of Famer, and avid basketball fan. This is a basketball heavy show today, people. We are going to talk a little football, but we got to jump into these topics. So, Sam, what you got for us?
Yeah, are the Timberwolves title favorites if they win this Nuggets series? We'll get into it.
And do the Timberwolves become the number 2 favorite team in Minnesota with how they've performed in this postseason? We'll talk about that as well.
Is it time to get the brooms out? Are the Wolves sweeping the defending champs?
Really? Sweep. And by the way, people, for those that are going to comment on the YouTube feed, please let us know who you think the number 2 team in town as we talk about that topic. Because Julia says it's the Twins. Some other ones say it's the Wild. She has some analytics. What do you guys think? And do you think who's number 1? I mean, you got a lot of sports in town. You got the Lynx. You can throw the Gophers in there. You got the Wild, Twins, Timberwolves, and Vikings. You got the St. Paul Saints. Who's the number 1 team in town and who is number 2? But we have to talk about that number 1, supposedly the Minnesota Vikings. The rookies are in town. The boys are back. That's not how the song goes. I don't even know how that song goes, but the boys are back in town. You got the Vikings rookies in town, which means they're one step closer to OTAs, which means they're one step closer to the schedule release. The schedule will be released on Wednesday around 7 p.m. on the networks. And we will have it on Vikings.com. Locked On Sports, of course, we will have it on Thursday when we talk about it at the football party. I'm going to join there, and I'm going to give my takes on the schedule and how the Vikings got screwed, maybe. But we have to talk about the Vikings rookies coming to town first and who we think we are going to enjoy. And also comment on that. What rookies are you excited to see? Who do you think is going to make it? Who do you think has the best chance to make the team as a dark horse? But I want everybody to know today's episode, it's a game off. We got to talk more about Monopoly Go. The fast-paced game lets you team up with your friends for tournaments to unlock awesome prizes. Come on now, people. Who doesn't love a good tournament? And prizes? Unique stickers for trading, cool playing pieces, and hilarious emojis. I will say I did get a cool piece. It's not a car. It's like a Ferrari car that flies. So they have some really weird, cool, unique pieces you can add to the collection. Also got a boat. I don't know why I did that one, but I got the boat. So make sure you guys join on there and get some cool pieces. Maybe they'll add a Vikings head or something at some point. Maybe they'll add the gritty. Who knows what Monopoly Go will do? But again, you can get hilarious emojis to taunt your friends, and download Monopoly Go now for free on Google Play or the App Store to get your game on. Well, let's jump into the topics right away. My man Reggie, take it away.
So the question is, will the Timberwolves sweep? And we actually were kind of having this chat on the anchor desk last night at KARE 11, and our chief meteorologist, Belinda Jensen, said that she thinks the Nuggets will take one of 2 here in Minnesota, and the Wolves will go back to Denver and wrap it on up there. And so I think she might be onto something. It's weird because last series I'm like, but it's the Suns. They swept the Wolves in the regular season. Like, they have to get at least one game, you think, right? And then they sweep them. And so I am interested to see how this plays out. They are the defending champs. Mike Malone was saying, like, hey, I've had to remind this team, I've been reminding them all week, we are still the champs. We are the reigning champs. Act like it, play like it. And I truly see them coming out with a much better effort than game 2 tonight. I know Target Center is going to be jumping. Kat said yesterday, fans are going to be acting like Prince is back. That's what he said. And so I was like, okay.
Like what? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
What
it
are they
was
gonna do?
interesting. He said people are going to be ready to
Are they gonna be wearing like
party
buttless
like it's
jeans or something? Like
1999. Yeah.
AI is pretty powerful.
Yeah, like Prince
leather
is back.
chaps? Like what?
Yeah,
What is going on?
exactly. With the booty out and the platform heels, all that. We ready. We ready. But I think Target Center is going to be jumping, and I think the Wolves are going to feed off that atmosphere. But look, Jokic had 16 points in game 2. I just do not see that happening again. Fresh off another MVP, 3-time NBA MVP now. And early on in game 2, I saw Jokic kind of taking it to Cat, taking it to slow-mo. And for some reason, he got off of it. He stopped being aggressive. He stopped being the guy that, we all knew him to be. I think at his best, when he is locked in, nobody can guard him. And I think he is probably going to try to entice Cat into some foul trouble, which is kind of easy to do. And I think he's going to have his way. I think Jamal Murray, even with the calf, is going to, play better than he's played the last couple games. And I could see game 3 being really competitive tonight. I think if there is a chance for the Nuggets to get back into this series, them still in game 3 tonight in what will be a very raucous atmosphere is going to be their chance to do it. But here's the thing. So I'll say I agree with Bell. I think somehow the Wolves are going to take this thing back to Denver for game 5 and wrap it up there. Whether they lose tonight or lose on Sunday, I don't know. But what's interesting is, and I think we said this on the basketball party, but I mentioned this on Care earlier this week. The Wolves were 17th in offensive rating this season. They are the number 1 team in the playoffs for offensive rating right now. And it's just been a night and day switch from where they were in the regular season. We talked ad nauseum this year, like, what's wrong with the offense? It's clunky. They go cold. It's just not consistent. And then they just totally put it together. And so if you think about it like that, and if the trend just stays how it is, I can see the sweep actually happening if they continue to play like they played. Because game 1, they probably don't win that game without Nas scoring 14 of his 16 points in the 4th. But he did. And it happened. Like each game, someone steps up. You have 14 from Nah in game 2. You got Nah in order. Doom doom, going live on Twitter right now. Like that's a thing. And so I think there is optimism if you want there to be for a sweep, but I just think it goes to 5.
Sam, let's get real definitive in this. Yes or no? Do they sweep the Timberwolves? Do they sweep the Nuggets?
Yes, they will. Tonight's the biggest basketball game in Target Center in 20 years. There's going to be such an emotional lift from this crowd. The Timberwolves are super well rested. On the other hand, Denver does have the rest, but I'm seeing 3 guys questionable. I'm not saying I don't. I think they will play. Like I think that Murray will gut it out. I think Reggie Jackson will gut it out. KCP also questionable for this game. So you've got 3 hobbled Denver Nuggets. They're already not as deep as the Timberwolves. Minnesota will get that crowd lift. And I think if you win this game, well, then the Nuggets know, okay, teams that are down 0-3 are 0-154 historically. No team has ever come back from an 0-3 deficit. Then you have broken their spirit, and then you clean it up in game 4. T-Wolves are sweeping.
Julia, sweep or no sweep? That is the question.
I think the Wolves have to win tonight, and then that's how they get this. Well, obviously, that's how that works. But I think – sorry, that's a total brain fart. Obviously. This must be the altitude in Denver. I think Wolves – yeah, I do think that the Wolves sweep because now they've got their – 2 games at home in Target Center. Like you said, Sam, it's going to be totally different than it has been in decades. This crowd's going to be insane. I think they're blocking off downtown. They've got all these watch parties. I'm almost a little bit happy that I'm not going to be downtown for that. But I think 100%. The Wolves keep consistent and they keep doing what they've been doing. I don't know how the Nuggets shut them down. And like you said, they're not as deep as the Wolves are, and they clearly are hurting. I think if the Nuggets get their emotions together, somehow they could pull off a win tonight. Just because, let's be honest, they are still the Nuggets, right? The defending champs. If they can get mentality together and not fall apart like they did in game 2, they could be a threat. But I think the way things lean right now, and I hate to say it because I've really not had a lot of faith in the Wolves all the way from when the playoffs started, and they've proved me wrong. And so if I say something now, I'm a little bit worried that it's going to throw it all off. But yeah, I think it's a sweep for sure. I think the everything's working for them right now, and we'll see some explosive offense and the insane defense that they play again tonight. So,
well, as Coach Gannon would say, explosive. You're explosive. Like that's you. Pew, pew, pew. I am scared. I'm like Julie. I'm scared to say they're going to sweep them. I am, because the minute I get behind them, I feel like the wheels might fall off. I did that last time, and people punched walls. Pets' heads fell off. Guys got hurt. Like it was absolute like panda. People glued themselves to floors. I mean, there was all kinds of weird stuff going on. So I'm a little scared to get behind them. But here's where I go with this one. I think this is the perfect time for the Timberwolves to really scare the rest of the league. Like Jason Tatum, I just saw a tweet where Jason Tatum is saying that they don't have a super team, because people keep calling them a super team because they've added Kristaps Porzingis, and you talk about all of the pieces around them. They may not be a super team, but this is their best chance to win as well for the Celtics. I think this is the Timberwolves' best chance. The difference is the Timberwolves are accepting their big three. They know they have a big three, where Jason Tatum is trying to deflect. I think the Timberwolves want they want the atmosphere, they want the energy, and they want that pressure. Whereas the Celtics are like, man, look, LeBron has beat us for so many years. We are so scared of just whatever could happen in the future. The Bucks have destroyed us, but now Thanos, Antetokounmpo, Thanasis has torn his ACL, so they don't have their number one cheerleader anymore for the Bucks. So their future was over.
Achilles.
It was Achilles?
Yeah.
I thought somebody said ACL on Twitter, so now they changed it to Achilles.
Yeah,
but still, how did he do that? Was he jumping up too high to celebrate? But I think the Timberwolves are going to win in 5. I'm scared to go with the sweep just because that's just what the Timberwolves might do. And I don't want to be disappointed if they lose tonight. Like, it's not going to ruin my weekend because I have a lot of other sports with my kids to worry about. So I'm not going to let a loss tonight ruin it. But I think they might go up 3-0. And I think with the Nuggets back up against the wall, they'll win game 4, and then the Timberwolves win game 5. Maybe Julia will still be in Denver to cover it when they get there for game 5. But
perfect.
Everybody seems like the Timberwolves are winning this. The whole world now thinks the Timberwolves are winning this. I'm excited not excited. I'm interested to see what the national media says the coming couple days if the Timberwolves go up 3-0. Like, is it going to be the story? Can the Nuggets still come back? Like, are they just going to finally just say the Timberwolves are good? Because it's never the Timberwolves are good. It's always what can other teams do, or what have other teams suffered from? And I think that's what Nuggets fans are going to lean on is, oh, look at the injuries. Reggie Jackson, he's out there dancing in the rain like Omarion, and then he hurts his ankle. And then we got KCP scared of Anthony Edwards. He's not really hurt. He just doesn't want to go. And Jamal Murray's calf, like he's doing too many calf raises trying to high-five Jokic. Whatever. You can say whatever you want. But at the end of the day, the Timberwolves are a better team. And regardless if they win in 4 or 5, they're going to win this. And then they're probably going to get the Thunder, it looks like. But I hope the Dallas Mavericks tire them out and take them to maybe 6 games. But coming up, we got to talk about this title, because again, does Minnesota, become the title favorite with a win in this series? You got OKC, you got Dallas, you got the Celtics, the Pacers, the Knicks, and who's the 4th team in the East? I'm drawing a blank on the 4th team.
Cleveland.
And so you got those 4 teams in the East, which none of those teams particularly, other than the Celtics, scare me when you talk about the Timberwolves. When you think about the Timberwolves season as a whole, being the number 1 team for a lot of the season, and then at the end falling to 3 in the West, but still one of the top teams in the league. I don't know if anybody in the East other than the Celtics just like worries me too much, but we'll talk about all that and much more coming up next on the Roundtable. But we have a word from our sponsors.
This show is brought to you today by Monopoly Go. Let's take a quick timeout and pause. And I know you're throwing a flag on the play saying, Sam, you've told us about Monopoly Go already, but there's so much good stuff that I have to remind you about. Teaming up with friends. This is a social game. Team up for time tournaments. Work together, build up each other's boards. The more you win, the more awesome prizes you unlock, like unique stickers, cool playing pieces, hilarious emojis for taunting purposes, so that you can smash your friends' buildings and heist their bank vaults and then let them know about it. Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. There's lots of unique mini games. I'm especially intrigued by this robot pachinko machine. There's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win, or rent frenzies. So discover all this fun stuff at Monopoly Go. Get off the bench. Get in the game. Go download it now for free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on.
Well, the Timberwolves. Is this their time? Is Prince going to have a hologram in the building? Is everything going to be purple? Are they going to light the bridge up purple? Well, they can't light it up purple because their colors aren't purple. But could they light? You know what? They could wear their purple. Maybe they should wear their purple Prince edition uniforms. But anyway, Sam, is this their time? What do you think?
Yeah. Are the Wolves title favorites if they win this series? NBA Finals favorites. They moved up to number 2 on FanDuel, and fairly overwhelmingly. So this is the way it looks right now. Celtics are minus 115. That's crazy. You have to get minus money, so you have to pay 115 just to win 100 on the Celtics. Did I or did I not watch them lose by 24 last night in their building? Have the Timberwolves lost yet in the playoffs? Nope. The Thunder looked vulnerable last night as well. The Timberwolves have had the best postseason of any team so far. And the reason the Celtics are minus money is because they just have a weaker conference. The assumption is that whether it's the Cavs this series, they'll win. And then whether it's the Knicks or the Pacers, they'll win that series too. That's what the sports books believe. Timberwolves probably have a tougher path. They got to finish off the Nuggets. They got to finish off the Thunder. And that's going to be a difficult series. They may not win every single game as they have been, but should they be title favorites if they beat the Nuggets? They won't be at FanDuel, but I think they should be. In the spirit of it, I think they would turn into title favorites because they would have beaten 2, I think you can call them heavyweights. I think you can call the Suns a heavyweight with Booker and KD and Beal, and certainly the Nuggets, the defending champs, would be a heavyweight. Boston, even if they beat Cleveland, they haven't really proven to me anything yet. They've got Porzingis hurt. The Heat had no Butler. The Cavaliers are far, I think, from a finals favorite. The Timberwolves would have had the more impressive path. I think they would become the title favorites in my mind.
I agree. I think the Timberwolves are like primed to win a championship. It's funny too, Sam. I didn't realize, because I didn't see the Celtics game. I didn't realize that. I was wondering where that tweet came from, because it came out of nowhere of Jason Tatum saying they're not a super team. And now it makes sense because you got beat by 24. So stop crying because you got your head beat in. You are a good team. You were considered a super team with all the people you kept adding. Shut up. You just lost. Stop crying. I did not realize that. That makes even more sense of why that tweet came out. Because I was like, that's super random to all of a sudden say, we're not a super team. We got challenges just like everybody else. Now it makes sense. They lost by 24. So he'll feel better in the morning, just like Drake after Kendrick Lamar slammed him down on the ground and shot him in the back like he was on Degrassi. You saw that, Julia. Kendrick Lamar, that was the best. That was the best comeback ever. Kendrick Lamar pulling up in the car like a drive-by. He shoots one bullet, and then it hits Drake in the hallway on Degrassi. That was hilarious. Which, for people that don't know the TV show, Drake ended up in a wheelchair on the show. It's not funny because it's a show and he really can walk. We know that because he's had a kid, Adonis, because all he loves is my bed and my mama in my bed. So, which is his kid.
How did this analogy start? What was the
Jason Tatum was light skinned like Drake, and so he got the smack down. He got shot in the back of his locker, and now he's crying like Drake did when he was telling the girl he was like, leave me alone, and she was like, are you this what you want? He was like, I would walk away if I could. So he told her to walk away.
I forgot about that.
He was in a wheelchair, so he couldn't walk away. So he told her to leave him. That's the terrible way to break up with somebody. Just roll away. Don't tell her to walk away because if I could walk, I would walk away right now. Sorry, people, for those joining in live on YouTube. For those who are going to show this to the load, this is how our show tends to go off the rails because of me. I know it's my fault. I'm to blame. I love outside of sports analogies like Drake and Kendrick Lamar being Jason Tatum, being light skinned, and he just got put the smack down by Donovan Mitchell, who would be Kendrick Lamar in this situation. But anyway, let's get back on topic. Julia, you have all the analytics stuff. You have all the notes. Is this the time for the Timberwolves to be the champion?
Oh, I thought you were switching topics on me.
Oh, no, sorry. No, we're going to go to your analytics a little bit later. You have more analytics about championships. Is this their time to be a champion?
Yeah, I mean, the Timberwolves, obviously the West is the more difficult conference, and the way that they've performed through that and, knock on wood, stayed healthy for the most part through all of that. Now is the time that you should be, if you want to win a world championship, you have to be playing your best basketball right now. And that's exactly what they're doing. I think what it comes down to with FanDuel and this, that, and the other is it's what we talk about all the time. People don't want to give Minnesota their flowers because it's not a big national team that everyone talks about all the time and this, that, and the other. So no one wants to put a lot of faith and confidence in them just yet. Yeah, I think once if they beat the Nuggets in this series, potentially they could be considered the title favorite on all these betting sites and things like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't still, just because it's the Celtics, and look at the history of the Celtics, and people are always going to have them ranked ahead until it comes down, I feel like, to potentially those two teams playing in the finals. Would I agree with that? No, I do think that they should be the title favorite should they win this series. But I think when it comes down to just how national media and these national sites work, it's probably not going to happen until you get to the finals and if the Wolves make it there. That's when they'll be considered a title favorite in that sense. But in my own personal opinion, I think, yeah, if they put the beat down on the Nuggets like we're expecting them to, then I think that they've proven themselves. Should they stay healthy through all of this? That which even if they don't, though, too, they're the deepest team in the league. So you also have that to consider too. So that's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, Reggie, if they win and do it in 4 for sure, the Mavs or the Thunder at least have to go to 5 now because now they're 1-1. Same with the Celtics. Same with the Knicks, or I don't know the Knicks Pacers. I haven't even looked at theirs.
Knicks are 2-0.
2-0. But who cares about them? It's the Knicks. They're going to choke eventually, like Reggie Miller always says. But, Reggie, are they the favorites to win if they can beat the Nuggets?
I can see that. I think it is interesting, though, because I do think the Celtics get past the Cavs eventually. You know, they always have like 1 or 2 games in these series where they're just like, oh, man, what happened? Like that game in the last series where the Heat just set a record with 3-pointers without Jimmy, and they beat the Celtics, but then that was it. The Celtics were like, we're the Celtics. And I think honestly, too, like the Celtics are probably one of the biggest teams that could go blow for blow with the Wolves. With, you know, like I said, their offensive efficiency, their offensive rating was number 1 since the playoffs have started. But you got elite shot. I mean, I saw Jaylen Brown the other night knocking down shots. They got Jason Tatum, you know, even without Porzingis and Drew Holiday, you know, he's one of the top perimeter defenders in the league. So I can see a really good matchup between the two of them. I can see it going 7 games. But yeah, if they beat the Nuggets, I think that gives a lot of confidence. And honestly, I think if the Mavs get past the Thunder, I just don't think the Mavs are consistent enough to make it to the finals. And if the Thunder get past the Mavs, I just think they're too young. I think, you know, they put it together, top seed in the West. You know, that's a cool story. J-Dub is an ascending player, SGA, hunting for fouls. Like, he gets a lot of calls. Like, I think that would possibly slow some things down in the next round series if that happens, to be the Thunder and the Wolves. But I think the Wolves can get by them just because I feel like they're a little bit more mature. I saw a question yesterday, I think it was on PTI, and it was just like, are the Thunder the most agenda-free basketball team going right now? And it's just like, okay, like, I guess, but they still got SGA taking a great number of shots a game. I think Chet is still developing as well. Like, I just don't think they're there quite yet. So I can see the Wolves kind of getting past them. I do think that they can keep up with the frenetic pace that they play at with the Wolves, but I think it'll be a compelling series, but I think the Wolves can get past them. And then, like I said, it could go either way in the finals. So, like, I can see it if they end up going to the finals to go against the Celtics, but what a life. I was telling my mom the other day, I was like, man, I'm not used to stuff being ramped up around this time of year. Usually, the Wild are out, they get bounced in the first round, the Wolves get bounced in the first round, since I've been here anyway.
Wow.
And now the
Well, you would have had to be here in
going
2003 for them to make it out the first round. So
yeah, so yeah.
I think Julia was 1. When were you? What year were you born, Julia?
I was 13. So
97. I was 6.
Yeah. So yeah. So it's a new experience.
I was in the building watching Kobe destroy the Timberwolves.
Ooh.
Oh, yep. I come back from it was my second year in the league. I hit my agent up. I'm like, hey, man, Minnesota, I got to get back. Give me some tickets. I go, yeah, Kobe showed up. That was it. And it hasn't been the same since.
Were you on the wood, Ron? Were you courtside for that?
No. I didn't have that much money. I was a 4th round draft pick. I was in the building. That's all that mattered. Heck no. On the wood was like, I mean, back then that was like Randy Moss, Culpepper, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Oh yeah.
Like that was who was down touching the wood. Prince, I think, was in the building. So that was the guy. Cisco was down there doing the thong song. Drums like a boy. Drum. I got a picture with Cisco, by the way. Nice. Funniest picture ever. I just looked at it. It looks so weird.
Now he's doing the anthem at present day.
Yeah, I can't even post a picture. That's what I'm gonna say. How the way he was standing and the way, like, I never tweeted it. Well, we didn't have Twitter, but I still would. I don't think. Maybe I'll post it now because I'm old enough to be okay with what. It just looks very weird the way he took the picture, and I was not okay. Like I feel like Cameron and Mace would look at me with the side eye, like, "Yo, what is this?"
Hey, yo.
Okay,
no
quick
Diddy.
poll. I've got a quick poll. I don't want to derail the Cisco picture thing, but will KG make an appearance in this series?
No.
He doesn't. He hates Glenn Taylor, but he loves this Wolves team. From all the tweeting he's doing, you don't think he does? Okay.
Oh, but maybe just to stick it to Glenn.
Maybe he sits next to A-Rod.
I wish he would, because I see people tweeting to him and stuff, and I see him and Paul Pierce talking about it. I will say this. In the finals, if it's Celtics Timberwolves, I think he would. I think him and Paul Pierce would go back and forth to both arenas.
100%.
Because that's both his teams. You got him and Paul Pierce with a show. Like, I think they would go back and forth to Minnesota and Boston.
The problem with that is he would almost be representing Boston because he's like the Boston hero.
Yeah.
But he's been claiming Minnesota a lot more lately.
That.
Like he's been claiming Anthony Edwards.
Stick it to Glenn.
He actually said on his show with Paul Pierce that Anthony Edwards in his mind is better than Jason Tatum. So he's kind of like he's not admitted. I mean, he's standing on business. He says Anthony Edwards in his mind is one of the best players. So, but again, maybe that's because Paul Pierce is really Boston, holding it down for them, and he's trying to hold it down for the Timberwolves. But I see a lot of tweets. But I don't know. It'd be awesome if the Celtics Timberwolves that adds a whole new level of that KG story. Because what was true? Like if KG shows up in green. Like, are fans going to be happy about that? Or like, what does that look like? You never know. But the Timberwolves, I mean, let's talk about this. Now, we talked about favorite teams. I know Julia has her analytics, so we're going to get to her with this. There's a ranking of teams, people. So this is what I was asking you guys to do live for, is you can chat live on YouTube. Who is your number 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 5? Top 5 teams. How would you rank them? You got Timberwolves, you got Twins, you got Vikings, you got Wild, you got Lynx. Did I forget anybody?
Gophers.
Gophers. We know they're 6 for most people. Loons, we know they're 12th. I think they would pick Go for Tennis over the Loons. No, I'm joking. I'm not a soccer guy, so please don't shoot me, people. Don't get mad at me. Don't kick soccer balls at me. But Julia, take it away. How would you rank them?
Well, in television, we like to use numbers to figure out, what people like to see when we're on the air. And we have seen the numbers because we work in the sports department, of what is most popular among our viewership. It's Vikings by a landslide at number 1 as the favorite around these parts in our DMA. Twins as a second. And I believe, right, Reggie, that the Wolves were third, then Wild, then Lynx, Loons. I believe that was the order that it went in. Twins, and I know you guys say we're the state of hockey, this, that, and the other, but the Twins have been here, how long? And they've won championships here. So there's this loyalty among, especially like the older group of people that live here, which is a large group of people that live in Minnesota, that are just so loyal to the Twins. And also, I mean, if we're talking about just within like the Twin Cities area, maybe that narrows it down a little bit, but I still think the Twins are a second to the Vikings in that sense, just because of the history of the franchise. Should the Wolves keep up the success that they've seen this season in future seasons, should they win the championship this year and then continue to see success? Yes, I do think they can move into that number 2 spot. But I think that the Twins right now are a mainstay at number 2. Vikings are number 1 because it's NFL football, right? But the numbers that we have seen show Vikings solid 1, Twins solid 2, Wolves after that. And I think there were some things in between, about just random things that were in between there. But I think that they're going to have to show some kind of consistent run over a few years to actually move into a number 2 spot. Sure, people are hot on them right now, but if we're talking about longevity as a popular franchise in the Twin Cities, they're going to have to do more than just see success this season.
Reg, what do you think?
Sorry about that. My thing was muted. I couldn't.
Reg, have you seen the same data as Julia?
Yeah. I mean, I presented it to Julia after it was presented to me. So, it's interesting because, like, you would think titles would move the needle when they should. But it's weird because, like, the Lynx are probably one of the more successful teams in the last couple of decades. And
Page backers, they need Page.
Well, I still think that it's still pretty niche. But I think if the Wolves would win a title, I think they would probably jump up too, just because, like, you got Anthony Edwards, who is, somebody that a lot of people can get behind, like some of the indiscretions of his past, people have just kind of moved on from. And so, I think now, we're having conversations, who's the bigger superstar in the city? Is it Ant or is it Justin Jefferson? And, like, that's a legitimate conversation now. And so I can see them jumping up to 2. But I still think the Twins and the Wild are always going to be neck and neck. One, because the Twins are, historic franchise in the city, and the Wild is the state of hockey.
This is where I was going to go with this one. Sam, I got a different question for you. I want to change it for you.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bulls, I think we can all say this. In the 6 championships that Jordan won, the Chicago Bulls were the better team in the city of Chicago over the Bears and the Cubs and the White Sox and the Blackhawks. If the Timberwolves win this year and they somehow get back in it and maybe go back to back, do you even think they can? I think for sure they're 2. My answer is 2, so I'm not even going to worry about that. I think they are 2 right now. Like, the way they're playing right now, I think they're 2. Do you think they can pass the Vikings, Sam, with 2 championships?
While every team kind of has their moments, like you mentioned Chicago. I mean, I can think of, the Bulls had their time in the sun, then the Blackhawks won a couple titles. The Bears were in a Super Bowl. Like, it always fluctuates based on the teams that are doing well. But I just can't see the NFL being unseeded in this market. Every game is going to sell out. The ratings are absurd. I for one look at all the YouTube data, the shows that we post here on
Mhm.
Locked On. It's overwhelmingly
For football.
Vikings.
Mm.
And to add to that, I would also say that the Timberwolves are number 2 in terms of our data here. And that could be a difference of maybe just the people like basketball fans or maybe younger, more online. Twins and Wild don't perform quite as well. Timberwolves are a hot team right now. I think number 2 for sure. I think if you looked at the upper Midwest as a whole, it's probably more Twins. I think the Twins dominate the Dakotas. But locally, there is a yearning for the Timberwolves right now. It's insane. It's really cool. They've sold out every game this year. Whereas the Twins, I think people really need to like kind of ramp up into the season to get on board with the Twins. But they've been on board with the Timberwolves from game 1 this year. So I think it's Wolves number 2 right now. I don't think they get to number 1, but I think that they could be kind of right there, behind the Vikings for a while.
Because I was kind of thinking, like, do we think the Nuggets overtake the Broncos like last year at least? Like they won the championship. Broncos sucked. Russell Wilson sucked it up for them with Sierra. Do you think that was part of it? Yes, Julia, I had to throw Sierra in there. Do you think that that's part of it? Like, do you think that people still wanted the Broncos over the Nuggets, even though they were the champions?
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in on that. I think that success is different than interest. Like, I still think that a bad NFL football team is going to generate more interest and engagement than the best team in another sport. Like, I just think that's the way it works. That we're still on fire for the Vikings this offseason because they wanted to see how that team would improve. They still showed up every single game last year, despite the struggles, especially struggles at home.
Magic question for Reggie, though. I got Reggie for this one.
Yep.
Lakers or the Rams? Lakers or Chargers?
Lakers or the Lakers, but that's just because.
What about Rams, though? What about Lakers-Rams?
Lakers still, just because like the Lakers have been established there for years, and the Rams, they flip-flop. They went to St. Louis, they came back, and they're trying to make LA a football market, but like it's still all the other sports. I think maybe football has come back, and maybe it might be bigger than, I don't know, the LA Kings. I don't know. I don't know. Even though the Kings,
I'm just trying to stir the pot because I'm
there.
Well, I think LA is also like, it's flashier to be at an NBA game.
Yeah, you got to give me another city.
Nope. I'm trying to figure out how can we, like, maybe it is. Maybe it's the fact that the team have moved. The Lakers have been there forever. Jeannie Buss was in Playboy. I mean, there's a lot to go off of there. Like Magic Johnson, the Showtime, Wilt Chamberlain and Hugh Hefner. So I see. I'm just trying to
pick a different city.
I'm just trying to figure it out because I want to see how the Timberwolves, because again, I thought about the Pistons. I grew up in Detroit when the Pistons were on their three-peat and they were kind of killing the Bulls and beating the Celtics. Nobody cared about Barry Sanders. Like, it was almost like, and that's why Barry felt like that. He felt like even the organization themselves weren't putting a priority on his team in the 80s. And then all of a sudden you flash forward to the 90s and Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford. And then they had Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace, and they were the bad boy too, like the Malice in the Palace group. Like it is, I think, and Sam's right. Maybe there's ebbs and flows of like whoever's winning might get a little bit more interest at that moment, but overall, what is it? But again, Lakers, I would say I could go Lakers there, but I'm not saying, I mean, maybe not in our lifetime. I'm just wondering, can Anthony Edwards, Michael Jordan this thing and create a team that everybody's super excited about? Because the Timberwolves for years have sucked. Let's be real. And so it's tough to get behind a team like that. Same reason why like the Lions had blackout games, because they were only selling half the stadium because people weren't going when they were 0-16. Yeah. So there does go that. But Sam, to your point, like there probably still were people that were on the chat boards and reading all the stories about the Lions sucking.
Yeah. Well, and you know what, Ron? Like, I think that in some markets, you're right. Like the basketball or baseball teams will overtake the football teams if they are poorly run, have a track record of losing. But that's not the Vikings. Like the Vikings are still very well run. They've got all the facilities. They've got the resources. They have marketable stars on their team. Like there's still a lot of reasons to invest in the Vikings, even if they are a 500 product. Whereas the Timberwolves, for instance, they bottomed out for years and years and years. People kind of mailed in this team, in the 2010s or the late 2000s, and now they're back. Like, this is really the first time they've had something to really get behind in a long, long time.
Yeah, since Julie was 6. That was probably one of the last times. And then, what was that, 2 years ago when Pat Beverly cried when they got in the playing game? But Pat Beverly's been kind of weird, too. He got suspended a couple games next season for throwing a basketball at a young lady and then throwing it back at her husband. So he's just being Pat Bev. But we're going to talk about these Vikings rookies. What rookies do we think have the most to prove in training and rookie minicamp? But before we do that, we'll have a word from our sponsors.
We are brought to you today by Gametime. Did you know that Gametime is now an authorized ticket marketplace for the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets even faster and easier? Log on to Gametime and find deals that actually get better and better as the game gets closer to tip-off. They've got killer last-minute deals. You see the views from your seat when you log into the app and the lowest price guarantee. Gametime simply takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. The lowest price guarantee, which I mentioned, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference if you find better seats. With zone deals, you save even more when you choose the section. Gametime chooses the seats. Check out Gametime. Try to get in the door for games 3 and 4 this weekend. It is a hot ticket. Save up to 60% when you buy last minute for sports, as well as concerts, comedy, and theater with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Well, we got to finish with a little Vikings talk. We got about 7 minutes before we get out of here. Also, at the end, I want everybody to pick the score of the game tonight. We usually pick the week on our basketball party. I want everybody to predict tonight's score. The Timberwolves are playing the Nuggets. But first, Vikings minicamp. I'm going to be really quick with this. My answer is simple for the rookies. I think the rookie with the most to prove early is the quarterback. Like, J.J. McCarthy cannot go out there and Zach Wilson the bit. We remember Zach Wilson's rookie minicamp. He threw like 5 balls into the ground. Here's one, though, that was bad that also ended up being good later. Tua Tagovailoa. We remember those videos, too, that came out. He was throwing ducks in the air. It was wobbly balls. He ended up eventually being good, saying that the college ball, and it's a little bit differently shaped, slightly, not much. And then the white lines on the college ball, like, it gave him something to look at, I guess. And similar to like college pitchers, I don't know if you guys have noticed, Oklahoma, they put a piece of blue tape on their catchers for their pitchers to focus on. So for him, he was saying, like, I was used to being able to see where I'm gonna grab the ball and get to the laces quick. NFL, you got to spin it and fill it and get back and throw it, and that threw him off early on. But J.J. McCarthy coming in, the videos, even though it's Twitter, and we know people are very fickle on Twitter, the videos from the media, from Care 11, Reggie, make sure you guys get only good shots for us. They have to look pristine. They have to look tight spiraled. They have to look great on the receiver's targets. The deep ball rollouts, play actions have to look solid. His footwork has to look good. Please, Reggie, please, if he trips over a bag and throws the ball to his offensive guard, please don't post that. It'll go viral. Yes, but we are going to get laughed at. So please, J.J. McCarthy, that's who I need to look very crisp and clean. He needs to hit all these. And, of course, he's not going to have some of the best receivers in his camp right now. So he has to make those guys look great. I think Thayer Thomas, maybe, Sam. I don't know. We can check on that. I'm not sure who all got invited to rookie minicamp. But I guess some of those guys will be there. Tristan Jackson, maybe. But he has to look good, in my opinion. Julia, who do you think?
Yeah, that's mine too. I think also he's got to get out there on the field and he's got to look confident too.
Reggie, get the confident shots.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's all on JJ. It's not on our phone talk.
It's on Reggie.
We get the
Reggie, you're the sports director. You run Care 11 Sports. Make him look good.
I just think he has to go out there and it's not just down to what he does with the ball in his hands. I think it comes down to how he holds himself when he's on the field, how he interacts with his teammates too, because they're investing in him as a franchise quarterback. Mm-hmm. From day one, he has to go out there and look like a guy that Vikings fans are going to like. And he has to be receptive of what coaches are saying to him and this, that, and the other too. That's what people look out for. And because it's not like, especially on our airwaves, it's not just sports fans that are watching. It's people's grandmothers that are diehard Vikings fans, and those are the people
competitors
that you have to win over too. So they don't want to go out. They don't want to see him looking confused or, looking down in the dumps on day one of rookie minicamp. So I think it's obviously he has to make great throws and things like that, but go out there and look like the franchise quarterback people are expecting you to be.
Reggie, what are your thoughts on your photog making him look good? But no, what do you think? What rookie do you think needs to come out there and shine today or this whole weekend?
Dang, I feel like, I don't know, it has to be JJ McCarthy to me. I feel like everybody's kind of trying to see what he looks like and how he's going to be. And I think that's going to be like the biggest talk of the town. There's no more exciting talk in a fan base than a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback. Like that's solid. And so I just want to see, what he does. I think there's so much unknown about what JJ McCarthy is and what he's going to be. And I think people are just excited to see like what he's going to look like, if he throws an interception or whatever, like, how does he bounce back and does he look good? And I know it's not a whole lot to draw from like a rookie mini camp. Probably want to see him more in training camp and in preseason games, but we ain't there yet, people. So we just got to, get what we can from these crumbs and morsels from these camps.
Thought you were doing the quarterback from the Giants.
I thought you were doing the DeVito. I thought you were doing the money sign. I thought you were going to get fined $100,000. We fine you $100,000. I'm going to go Dallas Turner. It's Dallas Turner because you could make an argument that he is expected to do more this year than JJ McCarthy. We don't know if McCarthy's going to play this year. Historically, rookie edge rushers can come in and play right away. There's like a dozen every year that play 250 or more snaps. I think the Turner's going to be part of that rotation day one. So I want to see him establish that he is part of the rotation, that Flores can put him on the field. I think that he's actually probably on the track to play more early than McCarthy. So I'm going to be contrarian and go with Turner.
And I forgot about my $20 bet with Luke Braun. I got to go with Kyrie Jackson as well. Like, I think he has a chance to really be a long 6 foot plus piece to this defensive backfield. I think that's going to be the key for me too. Kyrie Jackson, can he cover? Can he shut down some of these receivers that aren't going to get on the field? Is he getting beat deep or is he breaking up ball after ball after ball? Like Xavier Rose. Those remember the Xavier Rose rookie year, him and Trey Waynes, when they came in, they were all over the field with speed, length, covering guys. And everybody's like, oh, okay, Mike Zimmer, I see what you're doing here. So can Kyrie Jackson kind of be the new Caleb Evans and stay healthy? Like, I think that's the other key. Like, can we get through this entire rookie minicamp without one of those tweets from Carol Levin and Reggie saying, oh, it looks like so-and-so is going inside and he's limping. It's like, oh my God, please no. But before we get out of here, we normally predict the week on the basketball party. So we're going to predict the game. So starting with you, Sam, predict the game and the score.
106-102 Wolves, big Jaden McDaniels game.
Ooh, okay. Julia.
I'm going to go 116-107 Wolves.
Ooh, okay. Reggie.
Going to do 110-105 Nuggets.
Oh, Reggie goes outside the group. He's a hater. Boo this man. Boo everybody on YouTube. Boo him.
I got to stick with it.
You did. You're standing on business. I appreciate that, Reggie. You said it's going to be there. I'm going to go because the defense at home, this crowd, the defense, I don't even think the Nuggets are going to get to 100. I'm going to say 105-92. I don't think the Nuggets are going to get to 100 points. I think that Law and Order is going to come through with all the defensive strategies. But I'm Ron Johnson. That's Reggie Wilson. We got Sam Ekstrom, Julia Daniels. Please make sure you guys join us next week on the Roundtable. Maybe we'll be sitting back talking about who the Timberwolves are playing, OKC or Dallas. That's most likely what's going to happen. But again, this has been Locked On Sports Minnesota. You can download any app market. You can get Locked On Sports Minnesota content, and especially on Amazon Fire and Roku. I want you guys to have a great weekend.